going to learn how you can use ChatGPT o3 to build out entire n8n automations in a matter of seconds. This latest generation of AI models has finally gotten good enough at coding that now, with a single prompt, they can go off and build entire n8n automations, only if you give them the right training data. Before, there was no avoiding the pain you had to go through when you're trying to learn n8n. You don't know what the buttons do, you're trying to build out your automations and they keep failing, and it was very frustrating to get started. But now, you have a different option. When I speak to people in my community, these tends to be entrepreneurs who want to learn how to use AI and bring this into their business because they know how important this is. But one thing that holds them back is the learning curve it takes when trying to learn a software like n8n. This was very difficult before because they had to run their business in the background, right? They had to run their business whilst learning this new skill set. And they know they need to do it. They need to incorporate AI in order for their business to flourish in the future. Now, with tools like ChatGPT o3, you're able to speed past through this learning curve. So instead of trying to create an automation from scratch, you're able to prompt ChatGPT, get it to do most of the work, import this into n8n, and then you're just doing tweaks. You're adding in your credentials, you're making slight edits, and you have a fully functioning automation, which is incredible. So I'm going to show you exactly how that process works and how you can use ChatGPT in this way to create fully functional n8n automations. We're going to split this video into 5 parts. First part, we're going to test out the ChatGPT o3 project. We're going to look into how we can use it to build our own n8n automation, and we're going to test out to see if it really works. Once we've done that, I can then show you how you can get the training data, how I scrape the n8n website, and the extra data I'm using to actually make this work. We have the training data. The third step is going to be creating the perfect prompt. I'm going to take you through my process for creating a prompt, and then I'm going to share with you the exact prompt I used to get functional n8n automations from ChatGPT every single time. And the final step is going to be bringing in the training data and the prompt into your very own ChatGPT project so you can create this yourself. And if you want to skip all of the hard work that I've done to figure out the prompt and get the training data, I'll share with you at the end of the video how you can get this yourself. So let's jump into it. So this is my ChatGPT project that allows me to create n8n automations from a single prompt. So let's just jump into this straight away and get something built out to see if it works. So I've got a prompt here, and in plain English, I'm just describing an automation. So in this case, I want an automation that can create SEO optimized blogs for me every single day and then post this on LinkedIn. So I'm just describing it here in plain English. So that's all you need to do, and I'm going to submit it. And then what's going to happen is you're going to see my project is going to go through the knowledge base I've provided it. It's going to understand the context I've given it on how n8n works, the different examples of projects which we're going to go through, and then it's going to go off and actually make the automation. So it thought for 47 seconds and now it's going off to make the automation, and you see it's just coding all the JSON we need. Once that automation is done being coded, you want to go and save it as a JSON. So you can use TextPad, save it in, and then you just need to save it as a .json. Once you have that, you can click the 3 dots in n8n, go import from file, and then here I've saved it here. And then wow. Like when I saw this, my mind was actually blown. Just through ChatGPT, I was able to create all of this. It's really insane. It understands the logic, it's got loops in, it understands, like even if I show you the ChatGPT node and you click into it, it sets up the user and system prompt. Like this is actually insane. But let me take you through the automation. And just so you understand, when it loads it in, what you want to do is just basically go in, and anywhere you have credentials needed, you need to double click and add your credentials. That's basically all you need to do as you set this up and you have a fully functioning automation. But let's show you what exactly created. So here we have a daily trigger that triggers every day. Then I have a Google Sheets with the different content ideas I want. So we'll go through this Google Sheets, it will check if the status is new, and then here we have one AI node that does keyword research. So if you're not an expert in SEO, it doesn't matter. It just wants to basically know what keywords is going to help it rank on the Google algorithm, search algorithm. Once it's got those keywords, it's then going to go off and it's going to write a blog. It's going to have a fully functioning blog. And the awesome thing is you have human in the loop approval. So the way I've prompted this is that we don't want it to post blogs we haven't checked. So we have this entire process of either approving it or declining it, and it waits for that human approval from the Google Sheets. And then if it's approved, it gets posted to LinkedIn. You just need to connect your LinkedIn account. And if it gets declined, then it notifies you. So that's the entire automation. It has notes, it has error handling, and this was done in a single prompt, which is actually crazy. So now you see what it can do. Let's move on and see how we can get the right training data so you can get this yourself. So to get the training data, what you can do is, I went to n8n information website. So this is like their docs website where they tell you all the extra information about how their nodes work, all the different types of functionality within the n8n website. And I had the idea, what if I just scraped all the information from this website and then added it in as a custom knowledge base within n8n? So I used Firecrawl, and I was first asked my question, how many links is in this docs website? And I quickly found out it was about 1,250, so a lot of links. I then went and used Firecrawl to scrape all of them. So I scraped 1,224 different pages. So every page that had information about a code, about a node in there, about how all of n8n works, I have it scraped here. And then what I did is I combined this all into one document and I tried to upload this to ChatGPT. What I found that this was actually way too much information for ChatGPT to handle because it's limited by its context window. There's only so much information you can use to train it right now before it starts hallucinating and making errors. So I went through the process of testing this and seeing when you upload too much, it actually doesn't help it perform that well. So I started simplifying and I only went through the most important pieces of information that are the nodes we use every day, the nodes that are the 20% of nodes that account for the 80% of use cases. So once I had that, I then summarized all that information into a much smaller document that covered the most important pieces of information. And this is the first piece of training data you're going to give to your ChatGPT to understand how n8n works. So you have this training data, but you're not done there, because if you just went off with this, it could do an okay job, but it's still going to cause a lot of errors and you're going to get more problems than you would want. In order to make your ChatGPT project function better, what really helps is it can get lots of examples from previous projects. So what I did is I went through some old workflows I did in n8n. So if I just choose this random one, I pulled the code from it. So I have this here and I just uploaded this and many different examples to my ChatGPT project. And this is when ChatGPT really shines, especially the O3 model. When you give it lots of examples of how these automations are structured, it's then really good at replicating that, coming up with its own inferences and using its own logic to then adapt that to your own prompts. So I just went through and uploaded loads of different examples, and then this acted as my training data alongside that information I scraped. So this is how you get training data, and then you bring this together, and then with the data you scraped, and then you upload it to ChatGPT. So that's the training data part. Once you have that, you now want to move to the prompt. How do you create the perfect prompt so that you get these automations right every single time? So I'll take you through my process. I want to show you how to get the prompt, and I actually want to give you the prompt, but I'd quite like to show you how I went about creating it so you understand more about the good way of prompting any LLM, especially agents as well. So now, once we have our n8n project, and I'll show you how to set this up in a second, but I have it already set up. I want to show you how I went about getting this prompt using the knowledge base I've created. So if we assume this is empty and you just have the project files, Actually, let me do it from scratch. I want you to get along the entire process. So here I'm just going to create a new project. Let's call it n8n Workflow Builder. And I'm going to show you exactly the process I took. So now we have this fresh project and we have our training files. I'm going to click Add Files. And then I have them all here. So these are going to be available to download. So if we go back to ChatGPT, I'm going to add the files. So now I'm going to go through and I'm just going to add all the files that I am going to use to train, which is the data I scraped and the automations. So now I've uploaded my files. So here I have my project files. And what I want to do is I want to get ChatGPT to write its own prompt. So I'm going to say, give me a short but focused prompt that will help you create the best quality JSON that could be directly imported into n8n. And what I want it to do is go through its knowledge base and pick up on things that I wouldn't have otherwise known to add to the prompt. But the important thing is I've said short and focused, because I want this prompt to be as small as possible. This is called reactive prompting. And this is when you want to start off with a very short prompt so that you're not limiting the AI in any way. And then through trial and error, and when you see how it goes wrong, you slowly add on extra bits to the prompt until you get to something that's really reliable. So I'm going to add this and we're going to see what it produces. So now we have this very short prompt, so we can copy this. And if we go back to our instructions, we can add it in here. So this isn't the prompt I've finally gone for, but I want to take you through the process so you know how to build this yourself if you want to. What I would do now is I would then go and I would try to get it to build an automation for me. And then I would bring this into n8n and I would see what it did well, what didn't go well. And based on that, I would try to add to the prompt to make sure it doesn't make those same mistakes. So this is the prompt I created where I've gone through, and as you can see, I've added quite a few extra stuff where I saw it made errors and I've updated it, improved it. So I've put this effort in, so you don't need to do this all yourself. You can just copy this prompt, but this is the process I went for. So I would copy this and I would add it into here. So this is how you get your own project that can build your n8n automations within ChatGPT. You have your project files and you have the instructions, which is the prompt now. So if you want to get this entire setup yourself, including the project files and the prompts, I have a link here that gives you the prompt, all the different training data I used. You can get this really easily if you go to my free school community, so you don't need to pay for this or anything. I have this page here. I'm going to include this in the description as well, and it has all the different training data I've used. If you want to take your learning a bit further, then I have this paid community where I go and deep dive into more complex topics within n8n. So you learn the foundations, but then you get to learn stuff like RAG databases, there's automations on sales and marketing, vibe coding masterclasses, and so much more. So that's another way you can take your learning further. I hope you found this useful, and I'm really excited to see what you build with AI, and hopefully now that it's made easier, you can go off and build really cool things. Hope you enjoyed. Catch you next time.